My parents erased me from the family until the day my name started paying their bills. They didn't just abandon me. They didn't just ignore me. They erased me. No birthday wishes, no Christmas calls, no "how are you surviving?" To them, I stopped existing the moment I refused to become what they could control. But life has a strange way of remembering the people you try to delete, especially when your survival quietly begins to depend on them. And when my name, my legally erased, emotionally buried name, started appearing on checks that saved their house, that's when they came back. Not with love, not with apology, but with greed. Name, Emily Carter. Age, 32. Location, Brooklyn, New York, USA. I was born in a house that looked perfect from the outside. My father, Richard Carter, was a disciplined man, an accountant who believed emotions were a waste of time. My mother, Linda Carter, was quieter but sharper in a different way. She believed image was everything. Together, they built a home that was polished, structured, and emotionally empty. And I was the mistake they never learned how to fix. I had a younger brother, Jason Carter. He was the real heir of the family, the golden child, the one who could do no wrong even when he did everything wrong. Me, I was just there. Or at least I was, until I stopped being convenient. It started when I chose art instead of business school. My father didn't yell, he didn't argue, he just looked at me like I had died. "You're throwing your life away," he said coldly. My mother added quietly, "Don't expect us to support your fantasy." That was the last full conversation I had with them as their daughter. After that, the silence began. No calls, no messages. Even family gatherings stopped including me. When relatives asked, they said, "Emily is busy with her own life." That was their polite way of saying, "Emily no longer belongs to us." I moved out at 19 with a single suitcase and a broken sense of identity. I worked multiple jobs, waitressing, freelancing small design gigs, sleeping in cheap apartments where the heater barely worked in winter. But I survived. And survival slowly turned into success. At 27, I built a small digital design company from my laptop in a shared apartment. At 30, I had clients I never imagined speaking to. At 32, I was financially stable, emotionally distant, and completely detached from the family that erased me. Or so I thought. Because life has a way of circling back. One evening, I received an email from a bank. Subject line, "Urgent mortgage alert, Carter family residence." I almost deleted it. Almost. But something about the name stopped me. Carter. My last name. The same family that erased me. The email explained that the mortgage on my parents' house was in serious delinquency. Foreclosure was scheduled within weeks unless payments were made immediately. And then came the shock. The account linked for backup payment authorization had my name on it. Emily Carter. My signature, my legal identity, attached without my knowledge. My hands went cold. This wasn't a mistake. Someone had used my financial identity to secure their survival. And I already knew who. Jason. My brother. The golden child who never built anything, but somehow always lived off what others created. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the screen for a long time. Anger didn't come first. Confusion did. Then silence. Then something far worse. Clarity. They didn't just erase me emotionally. They had kept me economically connected as a backup plan. A ghost safety net. A daughter they didn't love, but still legally useful. And now that net was catching them. I didn't call them immediately. I didn't scream. I didn't even breathe loudly. Instead, I started digging. Within 2 days, I discovered the full picture. My father's retirement funds had been mismanaged. Jason had taken loans under questionable signatures. My mother had quietly refinanced the house twice to cover debts they never admitted existed. And somehow, my credit and identity had been tied into one of those refinanced agreements years ago when I was still naive enough to trust family paperwork. They had been using me like a silent cosigner without telling me. I wasn't just erased. I was exploited. And now they needed me again. But this time, I was no longer the broke, invisible daughter they could ignore. I was the only reason they weren't going to lose everything. The phone call came 3 days later. I didn't answer. Then another. And another. Finally, a voicemail. My mother's voice, carefully controlled but cracking at the edges. "Emily, we need to talk. It's important. Please call us back. It's about the house." No apology. No recognition of the years. Just urgency. I listened twice. Then I smiled for the first time in a long time. Because now I understood the real story. They didn't come back because they missed me. They came back because they were losing. And I was no longer the forgotten daughter. I was leverage. I finally called them back the next evening. My father answered immediately. "Emily," he said, voice tense, "finally." Not "how are you," not "we've missed you," not even "hello." Just relief. Pure, selfish relief. I stayed silent. He continued, "We need to fix this situation with the bank. There's been some complications with the mortgage. Your name came up in the records." Of course it did. I leaned back slowly. Interesting. A pause. My mother grabbed the phone. "Sweetheart, we didn't know they added your details. It must have been Jason's mistake." There it was. Jason. The shield. The excuse. Always the excuse. I interrupted softly. "So you used my identity without telling me, and now you're calling it a mistake." Silence. For the first time, they didn't have a prepared answer. My father cleared his throat. "We can resolve this. Just help us fix the payments and we'll remove your name from everything." "Remove my name," I repeated. My voice stayed calm. Too calm. "Funny," I said, "because I don't remember you asking me when you erased me from your family." The silence that followed was heavier than anything I had ever experienced. Then my mother whispered, "Emily, don't do this." That's when I realized something important. They still thought I was the same girl they abandoned. Still easy to guilt. Still controllable. Still theirs. They had no idea who I had become. And in that moment, I made a decision. Not revenge in the loud, dramatic sense. Something quieter. Something worse. I said, "I'll look into it." Then I hung up. No anger. No emotion. Just calculation. Because now I understood the truth. They didn't need me as a daughter. They needed me as a solution. And I was finally going to decide what that solution cost. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was emotional. Because I was finally seeing the full structure of the trap they had built around me for years without me noticing. It wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was architecture. My identity had been quietly used like a financial tool. My credit, my legal name, my digital signature history, all woven into family decisions I was never informed about. And now, when everything collapsed, they didn't call Jason first. They called me. Because I was the only asset that still worked. The next morning, I contacted a financial attorney in Brooklyn. I didn't tell my family. I didn't warn them. I simply said one thing. I need a full forensic audit on any account connected to my identity. Within days, the truth expanded far beyond what I expected. There were overlapping loans, hidden refinancing agreements, emergency credit extensions, and one disturbing detail. My father had listed me as a secondary guarantor on the house years ago, without my consent. It wasn't just unethical. It was illegal. And the moment the attorney confirmed that, something inside me went cold in a different way. Not anger. Control. Because now I wasn't reacting anymore. I was documenting. 3 days later, my father called again. This time, his voice wasn't just tense, it was breaking under pressure. Emily, the bank is moving faster than expected. We need you to come in person. We can't afford delays. I leaned back in my chair, looking at the legal documents spread across my desk. They're not delays, I said calmly. They're consequences. A long pause. My mother grabbed the phone again, her voice sharper now. Don't punish your family over misunderstandings. That word again. Misunderstanding. As if identity theft inside a family structure was just bad communication. I exhaled slowly. You didn't misunderstand me, I said. You erased me. There's a difference. Silence. This time it wasn't denial. It was fear. Because they were starting to realize I wasn't coming back as the daughter they once controlled. That evening, Jason finally called. I almost didn't pick up. But I did. His voice was different, less confident, more defensive. Look, I know you're involved in this now, but you're blowing it out of proportion. It's just money stuff. Family helps family. I smiled slightly. That phrase, family helps family. Funny how it only mattered when they needed something. Jason, I said softly, when was the last time you treated me like family? Silence. He tried again. That's not fair. Things were complicated. I interrupted him. No, I said. Things were simple. You just benefited from pretending they were. And then I ended the call. Not because I was angry. Because I was done listening.